Sorry about that, y'all. It I got my two PC setup going, and the pros are y'all gonna get some crispy 4K videos. The cons are because Windows sucks ass and it has a mind of its own. It just did what the hell it wanted to do, and it just started updating on its own. Like, and I already did an update this morning. Like, that utterly makes no sense to me. Like, how you can have multiple updates unless you have like a critical failure. There should be not more than one update like within a week. And and I did multiple updates today. I didn't expect it to update again, so I left it on, and that's what caused the problems that we just saw. So my apologies. Sorry about that. If you could tweet this out, let everybody know we are live again. Sucks but you know it is what it is. All right. They can hear me. Okay, so who we were talking to Pete, and Pete was giving his breakdown of this week on Stadia altogether. Instead of me breaking it down between content and games, let's talk about it in totality. Pete, what were your thoughts again to just to wrap it up on what was going on with this week on Stadia for you? Mhm. Storm, what are your thoughts, brother? What did you think about this week on Stadia altogether? Yep. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Like Mm. Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. That's understandable. And look, we're a community of different takes of people. I feel like that sometimes we have short term memory. You know what I mean? Like some people came because they were tech enthusiasts, like Storm and myself and Pete. Others came because they were disenfranchised from games. Some people. I read this article last night. I'm not going to tell y'all where it's from, but it was like the most cringiest article I've read yet about Stadia because the person came expecting something that could buck against PlayStation 5. And I kind of get that at the beginning where people were confused. I never thought that. I never, even when I wasn't sure about what this platform would be, I never had misconceptions that this was going to be able to buck with the PlayStation 5 or whatever the new Xbox was going to be out of the box. I remember talking to my friends behind the scenes in DMs, and they'd be like, well, what are you going to do when the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox drop? I'm be like, yeah, they're probably going to be better out of the box, but Stadia is going to be good enough to where I'm going to be happy with that. You know what I'm saying? So I never had to, but this person had those misconceptions early on, stayed for 20 plus months, and then after all the information about the tech was out, still had that misconception. To me, that's just weird. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I, however, came because I wanted to be on the front line of emerging tech, and I wanted something where I could play my favorite games on the go. That's all I expected out of Stadia, and I got a host of a lot more. Now, what I will say is that I do feel some type of way, and this will be a great segue into the next part of our conversation, this whole Ubisoft thing. The thing that concerns me is that we know the system is capable of doing some pretty damn good fidelity. This is even in its current configuration. It's some pretty damn good fidelity. You look at games like Division, look at Doom, you know what I'm saying, and so forth. There's plenty of examples of them out there. Look at Madden, FIFA, and so forth. And we know that the platform can hit 60 frames per second. But we keep running into situations where developers, more recently than not, or no, I don't want, let me not start there. But more recently than not, we are seeing less of an effort that we saw closer to launch. Like we're starting to see more 1080p 30, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And then even from Ubisoft, who's supposed to know this tech like the back of their hand. They've done presentations on it. Google has done things where they have did little sidebars, techie sidebars and articles referring to the discoveries that Ubisoft has made with the platform. You know what I'm saying? So you would expect, at least not with them, that you would see 30 frames per second here or lackluster approach to visual settings here and there. So, I mean, we originally had the conversation built as we were going to talk about the pros of the Ubisoft relationship and the cons, but I'm going to turn it back to Storm. I'm going to let Storm kick this off. You break it down however you want to. We are going to have our own unique or maybe similar experiences here. And you in the chat, let us know what you think about the Ubisoft relationship. Like, I'm going to drop a poll. Do you think the Ubisoft relationship with Stadia is more positive, or it's starting to, it's starting not to bear enough fruit? You know what I'm saying? Well, let's talk about it. But Storm, I'm gonna pass it over to you, good brother. What are your thoughts on the recent offerings of Ubisoft and the relationship altogether with Stadia? Mm-hmm. You got to say it, brother. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Facts. 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 Yeah. Facts. Mm-hmm. Oh damn. Stadia. Mm-hmm. Cloud gaming. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, hold on, hold on. Damn, my bad. Okay.
Oh, you had
Storm,
us muted?
you gotta store. Yeah, you were muted.
Oh man, I can't muster the same energy.
Wow.
Muster the same energy, man. It's one of those days, y'all. You got to bear with us. We're gonna laugh about this. We're gonna remember it, and we'll, you know how we do.
Ah,
One crazy show,
sorry, hey,
and
yo.
a lot of it's out of our control. But then you get like 100 decent to great shows. You know what I'm saying? Like so, it is what it is. We're gonna laugh about it, man. We're gonna laugh about it.
My,
So I'm
um,
glad to hear it wasn't meant to be. It
uh,
wasn't meant to be heard, man. That's what I'm gonna leave it like that. But y'all, seriously though, we got to have a conversation because we are all consumers at the end of the day. And I know there's some finger pointing that's gonna happen. 30 FPS. Who cares about 60 Storm and MM2K? I'm so tired of it, man. Like, damn, again. But we pay our money. We pay our 9.99 a
mm-hmm,
month, just like the next person. Now, if you're playing for free on Stadia, you still got to buy your game. If you want to play Far Cry and all that stuff, you got to buy those. So you're spending money. I can't influence you to think like me, but what I can say is that Project Storm, I used to be 100% enthusiastic. Hold on.
mm-hmm.
Wife just got home. My son got my food and everything. So I used to be 100% enthusiastic, man, about everything. About State, and I still feel that way. I just did a fun stream yesterday. Assassin's Creed Valhalla on Luna and Stadia, like I said earlier, right?
Yep.
But I can't help it, y'all. My mood is being dampered because I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what's going on with the developers, the publishers. I don't know what's going on with Stadia. I have no clue because they're not gonna let us know. Now I remember some of the naysayers and some of the canoe people and all that saying some of the same things. I do realize how I'm sounding right now. But I do realize that we are paying money, and I showed my rap sheet. I showed the games I buy. I show you the games I'm on. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I spend money just like probably more so than some of the people that's critical of what I'm saying right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Stadia. That has not changed. I think the potential is through the roof. What I don't understand is how and why we keep having these conversations. I know Far Cry 6 might be an ambitious title, man. I just saw it, though. But I did see that it's running on the Vega 56 at 70 frames per second. That's the Vega 56 GPU from how many years ago, y'all? Now, when I start hearing stuff like that, and that's from Hardware Unboxed, I think. If you wanna go check that out, Shout out to them for making a very informative video where they just ran like 30 GPUs and all that stuff. So check that out if you want to see how Far Cry 6 is murdering PCs and stuff like that. So I understand the type of game it is, y'all. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been gaming for a long time across multiple platforms. You know what I mean? I'm into the specs. I'm into the terminology. I'm into it all. That's why I am who I am. I'm not MM2K. I'm not Pete. I'm Project Storm, man. So I have always said, MM2K, you put it beautifully, man. We came over here because we saw potential and we saw performance. We saw power. We saw community. We see all of this stuff. We see cloud. We see all, you know what I mean? So, but when you, let's be for real, man. As gamers, if you don't get what you want, like say you wanted 2K22, you're pissed. You don't care if Google and I mean Stadia and 2K Sports could work something out. You don't care. You just want the game. That's how I feel when it comes to certain performance. Like when I hear that 4K 30 or 30 FPS is gonna be what we're gonna be experiencing on Far Cry 6, a game that MM2K was highly anticipating back when Far Cry 5 hit the platform. When Far Cry 5 hit the platform, and I had to listen to my bro, and I had to get in these DMs, and I had to get on these, other podcasts at the time with my homie, and I was disappointed for him because Far Cry 5 didn't have a 60 FPS mode, man. So damn well I'm gonna be honest and vocal about my thoughts, but I really don't want to run it through the mud and all that stuff. But you all know when it comes to Project Storm, I'm going to talk about this stuff, man. I have to. I have to talk about how I feel. Now, I don't, again, it's getting to the point where I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what to say, y'all. So I'm going to pass the microphone real quick to Pete, and hopefully Pete can do a little bit better than me.
Man, don't do this to me. All right.
Pete, man,
So,
somebody has to do it.
yeah, you right. All right. So, bro, honestly, like, y'all be seeing me on Twitter. I've had several people call me a fanboy because I be correcting y'all. That's not it at all. And I'm trying to tell you this, that it's not that I don't understand that people have differing views, because I'm probably one of the rare ones that try to look at everything from the entirety of the view and not this one-sided garbage that happens constantly, and I despise it. And I hate when people call me a fanboy because I'm probably the furthest thing from it. I'm passionate, yes, but I still acknowledge the faults. The thing is I see the faults, I know the faults, but beating a dead horse over it isn't going to achieve anything. Being constantly negative about it isn't going to achieve anything. Being constantly positive, acting like it doesn't exist, saying he isn't going to change anything. I don't get it. Like, try to be as centered as possible. Now, with that being said, Stadia has its issues, and I'm so well aware of that. And I keep telling y'all, I have my PC for a reason. I don't game exclusively on Stadia. I don't game exclusively on Game Pass. I'm all for cloud. But bro, I have my PC because at the end of the day, right now, PC is probably the best way to play anything. I mean, y'all can disagree with me. That's cool. I understand that not everyone can get a next gen console. Not everyone can get a PC. I barely got my PC. But at the end of the day, I use my PC if I'm just not happy with Stadia or cloud gaming in general because it needs work. As MM has constantly said, it's a 1% business right now. And yes, it's 2 years old. Yes, they could be doing better. But in my opinion, right now it's still gonna take some time regardless. And I mean, I know some of y'all hate it. I know some of y'all probably think I'm talking crazy. I mean, that's cool too, whatever. We did say we were gonna have an adult conversation about this. um that being said, honestly, like, I get it. Seriously, I do. And it sucks that Stadia keeps doing these shadow drops. It sucks that they're basically, if they're being honest about one thing, it's the fact that a few months ago they had said that they're keeping any major news close to the chest. They're not saying it it's all on lockdown, and we're basically being drip fed stuff. And I don't like it. I definitely want to know what's going on. I hate being in the dark trying to guess like what's the future going to look like, what's going to happen. You guys have a really good thing on your hands, but on the consumer side, it looks like you're not doing anything with it.
Mhm.
And that sucks. Um and I want them to do better. I do want more communication. I want some kind of roadmap, or if y'all are getting something major, say it. I don't care. Like, I'm seriously hoping that something happens for the second anniversary, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be really, really pissed off about it. Uh, I'm hoping that these rumors are true, and that maybe they do have something big dropping and they just don't want to say anything about it. I'm still standing by my statement as well that Stadia isn't gonna get any kind of traction or anything until Google as a whole transfers its infrastructure,
Mhm.
like its entire infrastructure, over to cloud, which Google CEO did say that. Sundar, he had said that, hey, we're moving our entire infrastructure over. We're going to show that Google's infrastructure can handle worldwide business loads. And I'm seriously thinking that's honestly what they're waiting on, and I really, really don't agree with it. But if that's what they're doing, then y'all, I'm telling you now, keep your expectations low, because it's still going to be at least, I'm going to say, like 5 or 6 months before they even get close to completing that, because that's a lot of work that they're doing um, to migrate their entire infrastructure over to a cloud-based solution. Sorry, I like dragged on for a while, but
No,
yeah,
no,
I
no.
had
I
to get
think
that.
that was a good breakdown, and I could definitely dig what you were saying. Let me ask you this real quick, and then I'll get into my spill. But Pete, okay, so you said you don't think that we're going to see any uh, difference here until they upgrade their infrastructure, right? What made you feel that way?
That just how quiet they've been, and previous statements by Google CEO, um, along with, I'm trying to remember when they put the statement they had put out after SG&E, saying, and I'm really want to try to find that link, saying that they had that everything was basically kept under lock and key.
Yeah.
If it was, that was major news. I remember seeing it. I just don't remember when or where. Um, and that's my general thought process, because you see that as part of that, Google's laying down underground sea cables to new countries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I think how, in my opinion, how they're gonna do it is they're gonna focus on expansion while they're simultaneously working on migrating their infrastructure, and then once that's done, then they can show that, hey, now we can handle this. Because if my thinking is right, it might be the fact that it's not that Stadia doesn't have enough blades, server blades, but they don't want to run into the same problem that GFN is having, or xCloud is having, where you're having whole system crashes
Mm-hmm.
going down. Like xCloud has consistent crashes.
That's a fact.
GFN, the way they work is, and this was in the Discord, um, what they're working, how it works is it separates it into different instances, but that's why they have to have queues, because if they don't have queues, you're not going to have rigs for anyone. That's why they also have to have time limits, because it can't handle a mass amount of people. Like, you could say, okay, GFN has millions of users, whatever, but half of those users could just be people playing for the 1 hour time limit that you're on, and it's just counting created accounts. It's no different than people using Stadia's app installs as a measurement. to count how many
So
users there are.
you're basically pointing to capacity. You think that until they can increase their capacity ceiling, that we're not going to see an overhaul of this or that.
Right. That's
Okay, I
until
got you.
until they're done
Hmm.
consolidating their infrastructure and migrating it all to cloud, I truly do not believe that they're gonna do they're gonna make a big push. I don't think they can. That's the thing. Like I'm not trying to make excuses and say that the pandemic is holding them back because as Storm said, they have in our pre-show, everyone else is still making moves regardless.
Hmm.
Um and I know it's a slow burn, but I seriously just think that this is a lot more intensive than people are seeing or
Hmm.
thinking, and that's their main focus right now. Is I honestly think everything is scaled back across all of Google, even like kind of going off topic with their Pixel 6 announcement, that it got pushed back and people were expecting it to be earlier following a certain timeline, but it was late. So honestly, that's just how I'm breaking it down. Is right now Google is like entirely scaled back, not because of some class action lawsuit, not because they're trying to hide anything, but because they actually can't. Because while they're migrating things, they're taking away. Does that make sense? Like while they're
Yeah.
migrating to cloud,
Hmm.
they're taking away part of their infrastructure. So they
Yeah.
can't keep that same pace because as you move stuff, you're losing more space until you can get it all completely moved over.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. It's
but yeah,
it's and that's plausible. That it's basically again a capacity thing to where you got interchanging parts, you got milestones that you're like, okay, when we reach said milestone, we can do X, Y, Z, and all the other stuff. So I mean, I feel that's plausible. I want to point out something though that's happening in the chat. And a lot of people, a lot of my stadians, those that are more uh, I don't want to say diehard, but that are more staunch for the platform. I want y'all to pay attention to this chat because the chat is going off. The chat is like, "Yo, I want to hear something. I want to know something. We need to know this. We need to know that." And I'm not mad at the chat. Like this
no,
is
not
stuff.
at all.
This is what Stadia needs to hear. Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's where I kind of take pieces from all of you guys' perspective, from Storm's perspective, uh, uh, Pete's perspective, and the chat's perspective. I want to show y'all something here. Let me show you something. Okay, so this is a thread, or not a thread. This is a Reddit post that I put out here. You know what? Let me do this because I gotta be a good host. And I gotta let my panel see this. Okay, all right. So this is a Reddit thread that I had put a comment out on because the topic was I'm canceling my Far Cry 6 pre-order because of the whole 60 frames per second thing. All right. So in the original post, the person is talking about, hey, look, Stadia has failed us. They've done us wrong. This is bad. Stadia, what the hell are you doing? Right. So here's what I caution because, and again, I don't want to make it seem like that I'm the all-seeing eye and I know and people don't know, but there are things that I'm used to from 2017 that from with the other platforms that are new to this space that time after time when I say, hold on, pump the brakes, just think about this and look at this from 5,000 feet. When we don't do that, it always reflects back and hit us in the face like a boomerang, all right? So I said here, I wholeheartedly agree with speaking with your wallets. However, I think the frustration is chronologically unaligned. One, we've already seen with demanding games, even the not most optimized ones, Cyberpunk, Marvel Avengers, we can get a performance mode. And might I add, a very good performance mode. So why are we routinely not getting it from Ubisoft, those with the most experience with the platform? I think we need to start with them. A, if Ubi concludes, well, we just don't have the resources to give you what you want, in so many words, then you have to ask yourself if Ubisoft deserves your money. Not Stadia at this juncture. B, now if Ubi comes back and says, look, under the current configurations of Stadia, it's just too cumbersome of an effort right now to offer at launch. If Stadia upgrades, damn right, we will get you better ports, 60 frames per second, 4K. In so many words, then yes, the focus would indeed be on Stadia. Point being, a server upgrade does not necessarily equate better output. We have to use our wallets to ensure the effort is there first. This is on the dev/the publishers to confirm. Example, Xbox One was a power of a console when released. However, its performance gap between it and the PlayStation 4 Pro were considered nominal at first. Heck, even God of War on the PlayStation 4 Slim looked better than anything put on the Xbox One X at the time. That's insane, y'all. It wasn't until Rockstar put in the effort that we see true potential of the hardware. So let's handle this situation effectively. Let's make sure the devs are willing to put on the effort. If not, frankly, don't buy their ish anywhere, is my position. Shafting consumers is never cool. So that's my position in a nutshell. I, with you, want better output. But here's the reality of it, as far as I can see it. Stadia is not a moneymaker for these platforms, for these developers, and for these publishers. And as much as I have ire for how Strauss Zelnick seems to just be flippant about stuff, God bless him for his honesty. He came out and he was honest about it. He said, look, basically said, look, we got to check. You know what I'm saying? A check to put so many games on here. Shout out to Untitled Gaming that validated this, what we've been saying here. We got to check. We put it out there. We were testing the market. All right, the deal is over with, and we're deciding whether or not if we want to continue the deal. And it's about the money that they want to continue. And maybe it was too much in access for them to get other games. Who knows? We don't know what's going on. But negotiations are still happening, right? So at the end of the day, what we want is we want developers and we want publishers that look at this emerging tech and say, yes, the first few years is going to be light. Within the first 12 months of Stadia, and y'all saw the numbers, they were outpacing the OG Xbox. We've been told by Amy Hennig, formerly of Naughty Dog, and Remedy themselves, that the gamer base from the OG Xbox era till now really hasn't grown. So the fact that a 1% business outdid a 95% business in its first 12 months as far as engagement and saturation is concerned is great. The difference between then and now, like our good friend Christopher or Topher told us when we did the 101 with him, is that back then with Xbox Live, there weren't a whole bunch of multiplayer games and games that that rely on a bunch of people playing together like there are now. So your player base is spread even thin. So being that you got that happening, and a lot of these games, like these open world games and these free-to-play games, rely upon sustainable player bases, these developers are like, hold on, we'll give you what we give you. And so that puts Stadia in a position. So because Stadia is put in a position earlier on until the player base goes up, to me, I first want to know about the effort. I'm not giving you $1. I'm not paying Ubisoft nothing, because Ubisoft should be looking at this tech, and I know it's a business, and they're saying, look, to help push technology forward that's going to benefit all of us, let's be part of this. Let's give the consumers there what they should get. Because my $60 is the same $60 to me, whether I'm paying it here or paying it over there. And if I prefer to play it here and you refuse to give me the normal amenities here, I don't want to pay you at all. So that's my position. However, again, if Stadia is the one behind it to where they're like, hold on, We just don't feel like putting Gen 2.0 out yet. And these developers want to do better, but they're just hamstrung. Then that's a different conversation. But what we got to understand is we're dealing with emerging tech, and we're dealing with developers that they already are giving you the bare bottom on the Premiere platforms. They're sending out patches every 3.5 days. So what the hell you think they're going to do with Stadia? So I think it's just about putting chronologically in order where your ire should go to first. That's why I'm kind of aligned with Pete. Like, I didn't expect Stadia to be getting every single game out the bat. Now, when it comes to performance, though, that does put me to a stop. But even then, I got to look at it from 5,000 feet and say, is the effort there first? So that's where I'm putting my focus first. However, I agree with you guys in the chat about the transparency. Even if Stadia can't do nothing about them being treated like the redheaded stepchild, I think they have to be more open. When you're not open, shout out to Bill of Nerdness, he's always said you leave things up for interpretation. And the biggest birthers, honestly, I ain't gonna like when I say this, Stadians, but the biggest birthers to the Canoe group is Stadia. Because we don't hear nothing. And they told us that they want to stealth drop everything. And I know people agreed to that, but I've always said, and Storm has even said this, that is not the way to go with everything. So what Stadia has to do is, I'm confident, because we've heard earlier in the year, they're putting their head down and they're really working on deals. This is just a year to where things didn't, as far as the tangibles, they're not fizzing out the way that we want at this moment in juncture. We don't know what's coming at the end of the year, but I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. I'm just saying that just as a matter of fact. However, Stadia, when you're going through these laws of people's expectancy, you gotta open your mouth and you gotta say something. That's just the nature of gaming business, even if it is a 1% business. So that's why I said I love what the chat is doing right now, whether I agree with their sentiments wholeheartedly or not. I love that they're out here speaking up, because by them speaking up, they're letting Stadia know what we've said, what Storm and I was saying months ago, and Pete sounded like Pete was echoing it too. Stop stealth dropping everything. You have to have, like, for instance, I'm seeing in the chat what's coming out in 2022. That's a big thing. What's coming out in 20? Nobody knows what's coming out in the end of this year in totality, opposed to what's coming out in 2022. You got to start opening up the communications just a little bit more. I get the position that you're in, and I never expected you to be on the kills of a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox. So overall, I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm ready. As soon as this podcast is over, my ass is getting into some Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm happy. I know what the platform is. However, when I look around me, I see the angst and I get it and I understand it. And it's due in large part to less of transparent communication as far as what's next. Gamers always want to know what's next. So those are my thoughts. And I appreciate everything that everybody's had to say on the panel, in the chat. This is how you have the conversation responsibly, without you going in a canoe or being out in the woods. And because we can have critical conversations or critical discussions, that y'all just show that this community is not toxic. Okay, but I digress. Anybody else want to pick that up from me? Because there was a lot there.
No, I mean, you both of you brought up some hellified points, man. I mean, like, some serious points that it would be like you must be hard pressed to disagree with, man. Like, again, here's the thing. If you're expecting us on this panel right here to be happy, jolly all the time, robotic, that right there is not about to happen, man. The day I turn robotic and I become a Stadia drone or whatever you want to call me, or before I do that, I'm out. I pack up, say, yo, Stadia, it was great, man. I got other places to go, like PC or something. Before I stoop to that level, I'm just gonna gracefully just say, hey, man, I'll be back, but I'm out right now, though. I'll keep it that real with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna BS anybody.
Yeah.
I pay my money. Hey, listen, here's the thing, right? Because I know I told you somebody somewhere is like Storm and Moss and Pete. What are you doing? Pull the plug. What are you doing out here, man? We already have enough negative. But see, here's the thing, y'all. We're not rich from Review Tech USA. We're not young, yeah. They did the damage.
Yeah.
They did the damage, but how many? Now, some of us went out there and we rode. We rode for Stadia, right? We rode for the platform. It was new. We were out here defending it when Stadia couldn't seem to defend itself at the time, right? Y'all remember that, right? For the people that could go way back in the chat, you remember that. Well, we're not saying that we're not defending the platform anymore. What we're saying is somebody has to do a little bit better, man. Somebody has to do a little better with communicating to the consumers. That's us.
Yeah.
So the day we stop becoming like one, if there's a problem, now that right there will be more damaging than all of the other garbage that we had to endure when we first became Stadians, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to get people to think, because again, I know somewhere, I don't think I know somewhere, even right now as we speak, somebody's sitting back with their arms folded, crossed or whatever. Like, see, this is the problem right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what the real problem is. The real problem is those who refuse to speak up on the real issues. You know what I mean? Those who don't speak up on things like 60 FPS or 2K coming to the platform, or Mafia in the condition that it was in, Ark, the condition it was in. That's all we're saying. And I'm sure that Stadia knows this.
Yeah.
That's why I rock with Stadia. I'm sure they know that. They've told us. They hear us. They know what we want. They in tune with the gamer. They're trying. They're doing their thing. So that's why we're going to continue to be Stadians. But if you sit back in the corner, and I'm just saying, we said it was going to be grown up. You get real grown up here at SSC. If you're going to sit back in the corner and not say anything, but then you have an opinion a little bit later on when something doesn't go right, and I'm just like, well, you have an opportunity. That's what I'm thinking right now. You have an opportunity to speak up. Well, you had an opportunity before they closed the door, if that were to happen, which we don't anticipate, but nobody says with 100% certainty that we know for a fact that Stadia is going to be around in 10 years. You know what I mean? Now, I speak a lot about me. Oh, I know it's not going anywhere in the next few years, but the next 10 years, man. I mean, we look, I always say, I said to MM2K right here on the panel, I say, look, man, I understand what some of the naysayers are saying. I do. I get their gripes. Some of it don't make sense, and that's the stuff that we address. The things that don't make sense, we address that. But the things that affect us directly here on this panel, here in the chat, out in the community, man, we're going to speak on that. We've been doing it since day one. This is nothing new. So if you're tuning in for the first time thinking, oh boy, Moss and Storm, I told him Stadia was dead. I told him. Mm-hmm. Now y'all got to stop playing around. You already know better than that. You should know better than that, man.
That's where it gets off hand. Like
right. But Moss, listen to Pete, bro. Mm-hmm. I couldn't disagree with anything Pete was saying, man. I had my mic muted and everything, just nodding my head like, damn, Pete, wow. Okay. And then you chimed in, and I'm like, whoa, that's it right there. That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And I try, you know, I chime in, Moss. I chime in, man. But I try to keep it as real as I can. But I'm gonna leave it right there because it sounded like you had to say something.
No, I was just gonna say, but this is a perfect example of three people that have three ways of looking at this. One is like, look, man, I'm about to bounce for good. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I would have no shame in my game if I decide that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, and the perspective is, I lowered what I normally came for with an expectancy that you would hit certain milestones sooner than this. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Then you had somebody else that came in and said, look, I am disappointed in the milestones as well, but I'm not that bothered by it. And then you had the final person say, look, I wasn't really too worried about the milestones. I have some issues with some things. Here's what I think our plan of attack should be. All different perspectives. All of it critical. All of us said, stay there, you got to do something better. And all of us kind of, did rest our laurels in parts that they got to do better on the communication side. But none of us said, okay, because the three of us on this panel don't like it, Stadia is dead.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I do a show with Jack, one of the smartest people I ever met in my life, where he extrapolates data. I've looked at data before I even talked to Jack. I know people that are on the inside. None of that is true. You know what I'm saying? So it would be irresponsible for me to pivot off of that when I know facts say otherwise. You know what I'm saying? But we can still criticize Stadia. And being that I can criticize Stadia, and 40 of you are still here. Y'all ain't go nowhere, even after the technical difficulties. I had y'all mute. I had my brothers muted. Y'all ain't go nowhere. Tell me that's toxic. Tell me that's toxic.
No, we toxic.
Tell me how that's toxic. I need to know.
We should have learned that a long time ago.
I need to know.
Should have learned that a long time ago, man. Fanboys, I want to address the fanboy part because it's family over here. It's team. It's Team Stadia. It's Stadia 100. Anybody out there notice I've been putting that Team Stadia out there? That hashtag?
Yes.
Yeah, boy. I don't have no shame in my game. I know what it is. Team Stadia, Stadia 100, and everything else. If a new hashtag starts tomorrow, we're all in it together. So here's the deal. I have been talking about my disappointment a whole lot. I can tell you right now, if Rev is listening, and I hope he is. If Rev is out there in the chat somewhere, show yourself. What are you doing?
He said, show yourself.
You know what I mean? Rev knows. I've blown Rev's phone up, and I'm sure he got pissed off at me a few times. MM2K, Storm. Damn, Storm, are you serious? I've been voicing my frustrations, y'all. I have. But we all, anybody that has frustrations, we've been doing that, right? And let's go back to the canoe, to the naysayers, those who are not okay. You got the canoe people. That's the worst. You got the naysayers. They just don't believe in the platform. They just things haven't been proven yet. That's okay. That's cool. And then you got those who are just like Stadia. It just hasn't delivered what I want. But I'll jump back in. There's 3 different groups in my opinion, man. I'm not mad at the groups. I'm not mad at any of them, really. Unless they start talking things that's off the wall. But for me, it's like, I have to call it out. I have to call it out, man. I always say during my streams, imagine me up here like, yo, this game, Ark Survival is fire. Mm-hmm. Oh, in the condition it is, I give it a pass, y'all, because it's on Stadia. I give it a pass. Imagine that for a minute, man. I'm dead serious. Like, imagine that for 1 second. Imagine any of us doing that.
Yeah.
That can't fly. But look how fast that turned around. Look how quick that patch came out, man. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. And we're not expecting to do this every time, because I tell you what, this is just my opinion. You can do whatever you want. For the people that's out there like, bring this game, this is day 800. I'll get behind you. I put likes on it and everything, right? But day 800 is not going to get that game on the platform if those developers and publishers are not doing what MM2K implied to earlier. If they're just not ready, if they don't think it's fathomable, they're just not going to do it. And I have come to accept that. Things are going to happen. I understand business moves and all that. I know things happen. And my excitement has been dampened a little bit. It has. At times there's a blow. Like when I really want to play a game and I wait for it and it comes out at 20, 30 frames per second. I can't dig that. I never will. But that's all I have to say. That's it. And that's where it stops for me. It's performance. It's not even certain games like Battlefield. Battlefield doesn't come to the platform. Hey, man, it's not the first time I've seen it happen. We're still waiting on big games that other platforms have right now that we feel should have been here, but they're not here. So there's so many things we could talk about. And I swear to you, I get my gameplay hours in. You know what I'm saying? I leave my profile is open. Go and check it out. See all the achievements. You're going to see 2 minutes of gameplay on some of them. You're going to see 2 days. You might see 2 weeks on others, right? But I get my time, man. So for the people out there that's really going to be judgmental, if you're not putting more hours on Stadia than me, you can't even come at my neck, period. That's all.
Pete, we kind of smothered you out of the conversation for a bit, but what
No,
what are your
you're. I've been in the chat, so you're all good.
hey Pete, are you for? Is that you foremost for mo?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
foremost,
Okay,
man.
yeah.
You know who Pete is. Come
okay,
on, man. See, this is what I'm talking about.
there we
See,
go.
How,
right? Storm knows
hey,
who
how
I
don't
am,
you
and you're over
You
know?
here
had to you
sitting
had to get your
here.
How
wings, man. Cause
how don't you know? How
cause
don't you know?
he got the other one with the eye, and I made the other one with the eye mod. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Pete out here like Pink Panther. We got so many disguises. I didn't know
Man,
this
check
one
out
was
Pete's
him.
Twitter handle, man. Then you would know, Moss. I'm
No, for
ashamed.
real, man.
Come
That
on,
hurts
Nah,
my
man.
you
You
got
just said it live on air. Pete, I didn't even know that was you. Come on, Moss.
you got your wings,
man. That
brother.
hurts my feelings.
Go ahead, brother.
I I'm just looking at the chat, like, bro. Okay, I get the whole 30 FPS versus 60 FPS
Mm-hmm.
argument, debate, whatever. Y'all, why are you focusing on one game? I don't understand when you want to make hate or
Yeah.
try to make it seem like it's negative. You focus on one thing and one thing only, and I can't stand that, bro. But God
Mm-hmm.
forbid a game gets a 60 FPS update, and you're all like, "Oh, I'm back," and then
Yeah.
you try to tell me that the Stadia hardware can't handle it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you gonna say about the games that are 4K 60 FPS, but you're gonna say
Exactly.
that the hardware can't handle it? Then you try to tell me, Vic, I ain't trying to call you out, bro. I promise, but hear me
I'm
out.
about to call you out
So,
though, but go ahead.
bro, because he's over here saying, okay, Ubisoft's Ben Hall, whatever, said, okay, I'm calling it last gen, but he didn't say it was last gen. All he said is that
Yes.
it's running at
Thank
30
you.
FPS like last gen, and then
Like
on
last
top of
gen.
that,
Yes.
bro, on top of that, he's part of Ubisoft. Okay, but he's a completely different team that likely hasn't had experience with Stadia. Y'all forget that Ubisoft has like 30 different like studios. Bro,
Mm-hmm.
one studio could be working on Stadia frequently, but another studio might have not have been past it. Like I don't understand that. Okay, Vic, I understand that you took a year for AC Valhalla. I understand that you probably stopped and then came back when it got a 60 FPS mode. Bro, I don't understand, man. I don't understand it at all. Y'all be coming out the woodworks, bro. Like, you say, okay, I play Stadia every day, or I'm a founder or anything. I don't understand how that correlates to anything, bro, because it doesn't matter if you use it all the time. If you sit there and then try to use that as a shield and you're trying to basically cover for yourself, it ain't gonna fly with me. Ain't no one capping for Stadia. Y'all have been hearing us for the past 40 minutes talking about all of our annoyances, grievances. They could be doing better, talking about bad ports, but y'all still forget the fact that Stadia is the only platform that builds cloud native.
Mm-hmm.
Period. xCloud isn't cloud native. GFN sure as hell isn't cloud native. Excuse my language. Sure, not cloud native. It's just a virtual PC, so of course the quality is always going to be better. I understand that, but not one of them build cloud native at all. All they're doing is straight ports, so the games come out faster because they're not doing any of the developmental processes that Stadia has to do. Stadia's also already said that they're going to be streamlining the porting process. When that's going to happen, who knows? I don't understand. And shout out real quick to Mike. Yes, they do need to improve the clarity and performance. Definitely, they do need to make it clear that they have performance requirements like everybody else does, and they definitely should do it. But at the same time, and the chat is going crazy. At the same time, bro, it is partly on the devs because you can't tell me that the hardware can't handle it. Then you have the Arc situation where it clearly shows that the hardware can handle it, but you want to give us the bare minimum just to get your game on there, take the money, and then think that no one's going to speak up. And
So
I
go,
can't
go,
I can't fathom it.
yeah, here's my problem with what Vic has to say. And Vic, you know I love you, brother. Well, Vic, you must have got into my old Milwaukee, brother, because you out here churning and jibber jabbering, and you all over the place. First, I asked you to give me the specific quote where they said that Stadia was last gen, and you had to bend the knee and say, well, they really didn't say that, but like, nah, bro, that's not how it works. I don't want your interpretation because you don't work at Google. You don't develop video games. When you make these claims, Vic, you have to back it up. That's why my brother Clive put you in the naughty corner. But here's another thing, Vic. You're asking who's running Stadia? Who's running Stadia? Let me ask you, and I can't find the article. You're lucky because that would be the triple whammy. But in 2019, when Jim Ryan, we're gonna start in 2018. In 2018. Which was PlayStation's biggest year in 24 years up to that point, guess what happened? You had Kazurai who left. Andrew House had just left the October before 2018. Sean Layton, he claims that he left, but I think he got Jazzy Jeff off the porch. They moved Yoshida to the base. You had more leaves at Sony than you ever had. And guess what? It still ended up being their biggest year ever. Then in 2019, 2020, when Jim Ryan took over, they moved the head of SIE from Japan to United States and completely wiped out the former staff. Like, the people didn't even move. Jim Ryan was like, oh, you was Sean Layton, cat, get out of here. Oh, you was down with Yoshida, he's in the basement now, get out of here. Did that across the board. Articles all over the place for that. The reason why I bring it up is, Vic, this is the problem and why you're hearing canoe people in the chat. That's canoe talk. Why is it canoe talk? Because you're taking reasonable, fathomable issues and you're getting all tinfoil hat, conspiracy style about what they mean, and they don't correlate to reality. Yes, is there a problem with Stadia getting ports that are not 60 frames per second, don't have performance modes, and are they getting shafted by developers? But you can't go all the way out into Deep Space Nine and say that means that Shaka and Chris from Google, they're going to start working at Arby's tomorrow. No, there is no correlation. And there is no correlation to the stuff that you're saying. Because if you look at precedent, which, Vic, I know you've been gaming as long as I have, if not longer. If you look at precedent, what you're saying means nothing. It meant nothing at Sony. It meant nothing of Xbox when you had Al Pinella and Mike Ybarra, and then Mike Ybarra snatched up the guy that was running Coalition. It didn't mean nothing then. It didn't mean nothing when all three of the major developers of Halo Infinite left and go make Scavengers, for crying out loud. And look at Halo Infinite right now. Look at the praise. There's personnel changes all the time. People are cogs in the bigger wheel of an industry. So what you're saying doesn't correlate to the fathomable issues that we're talking about. So you can't give us your conjecture and expect us to take it as golden. That's why we keep running into the circle all the time. Just some words of advice. Before you start running, the roof is on fire, the roof is on fire. Go check for precedent. Go look on the internets. Go look all over the internets. You can see PlayStation and Xbox been through the same stuff. All right? So make sure there's causation for your unrealization, okay? Please, stop.
Bro, okay. Can I say like one more thing?
Uh-huh.
All right.
I love you,
bro.
Victor. I love you, bro, but
I'm not trying to like call y'all out. But bro, y'all are saying Google is responsible for what's on their platform. Yes, 100%. But they can't sit there, twist the developer's arm and force them to do that, because then you're hurting the relationship between them. I'm not saying that Google shouldn't have quality standards, but they can't sit there and force them to do that. Bro, all right, imagine building one PC and thinking you know tech. No, I don't know tech.
And they came out of the canoe today, baby. Shout out to Making Chaos.
came
Maker
out
Chaos
the
is in the front
woodwork,
with
bro.
the biggest paddle. Maker Chaos, good to see you, good brother. Go ahead,
Bro,
Pete.
you trying to make splashes in the chat, bro. You're trying to hit puddles right now. Don't start with me.
Shout out to the chat. Hit the
So
like. If y'all gonna come here, hit the like button, please. Do us a huge favor. Hit that like button. We appreciate the conversation. Go ahead, Pete.
I ain't saying that y'all are wrong, but you don't you're assuming that I know tech or anything like that. No. But I also know that I learned how to keep my expectations low because Stadia's tech is still the most solid, but they need work. Then y'all try to tell me the biggest issue is Google's not a game company. Bro, how many times do I have to tell y'all Microsoft wasn't a gaming company? And yes, Xbox is still Microsoft. I hope you guys know that. Xbox came from Microsoft. Microsoft wasn't originally a gaming company. Sony originally wasn't a gaming company. Netflix wasn't a gaming company, but now they're getting into it. Google wasn't a gaming company, and before you try to tell me they got Google Play Games and that's a big market, that is not the same thing. Okay? So stop. I don't want to hear that. Then y'all try to tell me that Jack Booster left or whatever. But that blows my mind because you want to completely skip past the statement that Jack said, okay, what we're doing here is also in conjunction with Stadia. It's going to benefit Google Cloud and Stadia.
Exactly.
But you want to keep trying to say, okay, Jack left. Who's running the show? But you want to ignore all the job hirings that are going on.
Everybody that's left, Pete, there's been a replacement announced, except for what's his name that used to work on the native app. That's the only person that you haven't heard. What's his name? Justin Liberty. And we know that somebody replaced him. They just didn't announce it because Stadia likes to put stuff to the vet. Because of the recent upgrades that we've got to the native app.
On top of that,
yeah,
they just had there was a job hiring that they just did too. I'll try to find it for y'all later.
Yeah.
That said that they're hiring for hardware related skills and all of that. And you're gonna tell me that you don't see any of that? Like,
they
really?
See it. But here's the problem. You get a lot of people, Pete, let's talk about it. Let's be real. And again, shout out to the chat. But this is where you guys start drifting off the boat, falling over, capsizing into the canoe. You know, this is human psychology where if you don't like something that somebody's doing, you always want to attach doom and gloom. You better move. If you don't move them shoes out of my way, you're going to trip over them and break your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is happening here to where I don't like what Stadia's doing. So instead of me saying, you know what, I don't like what they're doing, ain't for me right now, I got to roller bounce if they don't do better. You got to add that extra umph to it. If you don't do what I want you to do, somehow something bad is going to happen to you. It's just that human psychology that adds that extra element. But the thing about it is, we're such a new community and we're so far distanced from precedent that when we try this, from when people that know precedent looks at this, it sounds crazy. So again, don't make yourselves unhearable because you got a lot of great complaints and stuff that is fathomable that we need to see improvements on. But you make all that go to the wayside when you attach these crazy doom and gloom theories to it. I'm telling you, as someone that sat in the boardroom, who's negotiated the deals, you get ignored. You get ignored. I'm telling you, your feedback, unless there's a swath of people that are believing what you're believing, which there's not, you get ignored. So let's take the fathomable issues that you have, leave out all the canoe talk and say, look, Stadia, this is what we want you to improve upon, or else we're going to go. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Just leave it at that. What I think is they're not doing this because I think this is the right thing to do. And they got money, so they're not doing this because I'm just going to shoot from the hip and say that they rather boil hot dogs than make video games. No. Stop all that crazy talk that you attach at the end. Just focus on the issue. If you did that, things will be 1,000 times better, I guarantee.
Oh man.
I'm
What's up?
sorry,
Shout
Storm.
out to
Go
the
ahead, brother.
canoe people, man. Shout out to the canoe people. Hey, look, this is the new SSC podcast, y'all. Hey, the chat makes the damn show.
Yes,
I
they
tell
do.
you what, Pete, what you need to do is shout out this chat a little bit, man, or something. MM2K
Yo,
YouTube, man,
for
Yeah,
because
we're about
like
to wrap up.
look. Now, oh, I know, but the chat was doing their thing today. That's all I'm saying, man. I know we got to wrap up and everything. I know it was one of those shows that was it was a little bit of technical difficulty going on, but MM, I love this one. I can't even lie to you.
No, this is the chat. No, shout out to the chat. We love what y'all are doing because this was a great conversation, but it was a conversation that again we kept in the bounds. I know some people wanted to go to the canoe because that was their knee jerk reaction, but we kept it in bounds. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is you're not wrong for your opinion. You're not wrong for how you feel. Where it starts to go into a wrong valley is when you start making your opinion fact when it's not backed up by fact or when precedent shows otherwise. That's the problem. That's where reasonable, disgruntled situations turn into canoe talk. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But shout out to all of y'all. This chat was on fire. Hell yeah. We need this. We need this all the time. Shout out to all of y'all. And I want to give a shout out to whoever gave us the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. It was happening while I was trying to fix everything and I couldn't see it and it's not showing up anywhere. So sorry for the technical difficulties. Appreciate all, but appreciate that. Definitely. All right. With that said, let's wrap up. Let's get ready for this after show where we're going to talk about Ron Slusher. I better see your ass over there, Ron. Ron was cutting up today, boy.
He was.
Ron was cutting up today. Ron had.
That's what I'm saying, man.
He put some bourbon in his shoot. I'm about to get my Jack Daniels. He put some bourbon in his oatmeal.
Oh, Red,
hey, I tell you what,
bro,
this right here, the after party. After party is not for the kids, though, y'all. It goes down over there.
Absolutely.
Language barrier is broken and everything. So come on over. Consider.
You got to be a member. You got to be a prescription member or a Sure Shot member in order to listen to the after party. This isn't our special for the month just yet. But stay tuned. But yeah, join us. We're going to talk about Ron Slusher's favorite issue, which is the fact that the Kingdom Hearts games are coming to the cloud for Nintendo, but we ain't heard nothing for Stadia. We're going to talk about that. And some other things in relation to that.
Talk about it, bro. Please, let's talk it. I can't wait, bro, because y'all got me riled up now. Man, see, this is what happens.
Yes.
This is what happens.
This
was
a
what
great
you're
show,
here for, Pete.
All right, we're going to start with Storm. Storm, let the good people know where they can find you at, good brother.
You can find me on Stadia, that's for sure. After all that, it might have seemed like it wasn't gonna happen. You know what I mean? That's the fake out, y'all. It's gonna happen from time to time. You know what I mean? But y'all know I got too many hours in. I got a lot of subscribers, man. I ain't leaving, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So listen, you can find me here, YouTube, Project Storm Gaming. Damn, I need to change my name now. Project Storm, you could just find me right here. Look for the avatar, y'all. You could also look in the description of this video because I'm sure my brother has it down there, a link to my Twitter as well. That you could just search me at Project Storm on Twitter or at the Nephophiliac. That means someone who loves clouds. I'm in this for real, y'all. It's been a hell of a show.
Absolutely. Let the good people know. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. Let the good people know, Pete, where they can find you at, brother.
All right, so as always, guys, you can find me on Twitter at foremost_GG. I did recently change my Stadia name to mirror my Twitter, and I honestly can't even remember that. But I will be posting that on my Twitter as well. I got my YouTube channel back up.
All right.
Once things settle back down, I'll be posting that on Twitter as well, so you guys can peep it. Once things settle down, I'll be doing random streams here and there. If I want to do commentary, because I do only have one screen and my one PC right now. So, if I want to do commentary and stuff, I'll be playing Stadia on my PC. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me right now. I promise I'm working on a few things right now. Life is happening. But once I get settled down, I will definitely be popping into the creation scene, and I can't wait, bro. But yeah, mainly, as always, foremost_GG on Twitter. feel free to have a conversation with me. As aggressive as I might sound, I do like the debates. So please continue. Um, but yeah, y'all, it's been fun today. I
Good
can't wait to
stuff.
see y'all at the after chat because, bro, I'm about to go off on this Nintendo Switch situation.
Great
And
stuff.
there's no filter. I can't wait.
No filter. No filter. So yeah, this is tuck grandma, put granny to bed. Shout out to the homie Tommy Rocks for becoming a member. Thank you, Tommy, for renewing your membership. Really, always a long time supporter. Thank you. All right, I just put the link up there. So Coda Stadia, you see it up there, brother. I just put the link up there for the after party. So click there or just sit here and wait. It'll take you right there once we go off. I want to show you guys one more thing though before we go. A lot of great people did a lot of hard work, not just me, to make this thing happen. I bugged a lot of people consistently. Storm can attest to that. He's like, oh, Storm had to sit through meetings and stuff like that. And then when our original developer went AWOL, he snuck over the Canadian border and head out in Toronto somewhere. When our original developer went AWOL, we had some great people that came and helped out along the way. And now the new PNTS network experience is up. Check it out. Go to pntsnetwork.com. We got articles. You can check out all of our podcasts, like episode 77 of SSC Podcast. Both parts are going to go up, and then I'm going to have to fix it and make it one show. I'll do that later. Then all of our content will be up here. Me, Storms, Revs, Bunnies, Pete's, and the homie Smock, and whoever else. And also what I want to show y'all too is, don't forget, we have Stadia Dosage Hub. We have the Stadia Dosage Hub where you can go and check out our partner streamers. Now, they don't have anything scheduled as of yet, but as soon as it loads up, there we go. These are our partner streamers. This Cloud Gaming Dad. We got Lukey6 in the house, and we got the Brother Collins Dynasty. So you can go check out their playlists, their channels. They're going to be on here periodically, doing content soon. Still more to come. And we're doing a giveaway. If you want to be part of this giveaway anywhere on the site where you see a Yappa, hub, a Yappa display hub, it was on the main page, but it was okay. Wherever you see a Yappa at, you can go to featured PNTS giveaways, scroll down to the bottom. Here we go. And leave a message here. It'll enter you into our code giveaway. We got Xbox codes. We got a lot of Xbox codes. Jesus Christ. We got game codes. So if you want to be eligible to win those codes, come on over to PNTS Network, go to featured, go to giveaways, and leave us a Yappa comment. It can be about anything gaming or anything about the website. I can't stand Pete. I love Project Storm. MM2K, shut the hell up. Whatever it is y'all want to leave that are related to the site and to into gaming altogether, go ahead and leave us. Shout out to Bud. Thank you, Bud, for also becoming a member. Thank you for upgrading your membership. All right, y'all. Until next time, we're going over to the after party. Have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.